They walked in a line along a high, open ridge. A fine rain was falling, persistent and cold, coming down in thin sheets that blurred the world around them. The mist was thick. It wrapped around the dark shapes of distant trees and swallowed the trail ahead. The group moved with a slow, deliberate rhythm, their hiking boots sinking into the wet, dark earth with each step. Every movement was careful, measured against the slick ground and the poor visibility. The vast Khamar-Daban mountains were quiet, except for the soft sound of rain and the whisper of the wind. The air itself felt heavy, pressing down on them as they pushed forward into the grey emptiness. The hikers were not strangers to this kind of wilderness. They were a trained and experienced group, well versed in the challenges of the outdoors. They carried detailed maps of the region and compasses to guide their way. Their packs were filled with warm, waterproof clothing and enough food to last their journey. They had planned this route with precision, knowing the potential dangers that came with cold weather and high altitudes. They understood how to make a secure camp in harsh conditions. They had undertaken long, difficult treks like this one many times before. On the first day of their walk, and for many days after, everything seemed to be in order, just another demanding but manageable expedition. The sky above them was a single, unbroken layer of low grey cloud. Small drops of water ran down the hoods of their jackets and clung to their eyelashes. As they followed the ridge, it opened onto a wide, exposed slope, a treeless expanse of rock and low scrub. Here, the group spread out slightly, but still moved as one unit. They spoke very little, conserving their energy. Their faces were set in concentration, turned against the biting wind. They moved with a slow and steady pace, a practiced cadence of people who know how to endure the long miles. The change began subtly, with a worsening of the weather. A storm that had been lingering for a day intensified. The rain, once a light drizzle, became a cold, driving downpour. The wind picked up, howling across the exposed ridgeline, where the group was making its way toward a treeless summit known as Peak 2399, or Tritrans. They were above the forest line, completely exposed to the elements. The temperature plummeted. The thick mist that had been drifting in and out now settled in for good, reducing visibility to just a few feet. The world shrank to a small circle of wet rock, grey sky, isolating them in a bubble of cold and damp. It was in this environment that the strange behavior started. After the first young man ran into the mist, a palpable sense of unease began to ripple through the remaining members. No one gave chase. The shock was too sudden, the action too strange. According to the account of the sole survivor, the group's leader, Lyudmila Korovina, seemed to be the next to be affected. She, the experienced master of the mountains, suddenly seemed distraught and confused. Then, another hiker began to act strangely, laughing, then crying, his actions making no sense. Panic, like a contagion, started to spread. It was not a logical fear of the storm, but something more primal, more chaotic, a breakdown of reason itself. The situation deteriorated with terrifying speed. One by one, members of the group began to collapse. A young man simply fell to the ground, his body convulsing. A woman sat down abruptly, pulled her knees to her chest, and did not move again. Another person began bleeding from their eyes and from their nose before collapsing. There was a frantic, desperate effort to help. They tried to administer aid, to share warmth, to bring their friends back from the brink. But their efforts were futile. When help finally arrived, summoned by the survivor, the scene they discovered on the mountain was grim and deeply perplexing. The bodies of the 6 deceased hikers were found, scattered across the barren, windswept slope, not far from where Valentina had left them. They were all within a short distance of each other, suggesting the final event had happened quickly and in one central location. Their small camp was nearby, a testament to their last moments of normalcy. A tent was partially set up, but had been damaged by the wind. Their backpacks lay on the wet ground, seemingly abandoned in a hurry. The site was quiet, the storm having passed, leaving only a profound and heavy silence. The official investigation was launched immediately, tasked with understanding how a group of highly experienced hikers could perish in such a way. The primary explanation put forward in the official report was severe, acute hypothermia. This conclusion was based on the undeniable factors of the situation. The hikers had been exposed to freezing temperatures, relentless rain, and high winds for an extended period. They were wet and exhausted. In such conditions, the human body can lose heat with catastrophic speed, leading to a rapid decline in core temperature. Because the official explanation left some questions unanswered, other theories began to emerge over the years. People sought to explain the elements that did not quite fit: speed of the collapse, strange physical symptoms reported. One set of theories focuses on environmental factors unique to the location. The Khamar-Daban mountains are in a geologically active area. Some have proposed a sudden, localized release of gas from a fissure in the earth: carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide. Those gases, heavier than air, could have displaced oxygen on a sheltered slope, causing rapid asphyxiation and the reported symptoms. Another line of thinking points to infrasound as a possible culprit. Infrasound is low-frequency sound, below human hearing. It can be generated by strong winds moving over certain geological formations, producing von Karman vortex streets. At high intensities, infrasound has been linked to feelings of unease, fear, disorientation, and physical effects like breathlessness and pressure on internal organs. The theory, high winds plus ridge shape, could create a pocket of intense infrasound, inducing irrational panic and physiological distress, possibly leading to the group's collapse. A third category involves biological toxins. The area is covered in mosses, lichens, fungi. After heavy rain following a period of growth, a plant or fungus might release a neurotoxin into the air. If hikers rested where it concentrated, inhalation could cause rapid neurological symptoms: convulsions, paralysis, cardiac arrest. Today, more than 3 decades after that night in 1993, the Khamar-Daban mountains remain much as they have always been. Ridges carved by wind, dense taiga blanketing lower slopes, cold, clear streams fed by rain and melting snow. The weather is fickle: bright sunshine, thick fog, sudden biting rain. Isolation is immediate for those who travel there. The silence of the wilderness is a powerful presence. It makes a human feel very small. The Korovina story is a quiet legend now, woven into the place itself, not told with sensationalism, but with hushed respect. Local guides and seasoned mountaineers treat it as a somber caution. Maps sometimes show the route. The name Tritrans is known to mystery watchers. The incident haunts the ridgeline like a ghost. We do not seek to close the story here. To impose a single, definitive explanation would be to disrespect the complexity of the event and the memory of those involved. The truth, whatever it may be, belongs to the mountain. We leave the questions where they were born, in the open air on the high ridges, among the wet trees, the shifting fog. The most honest way to honor the people who walked these paths is to hold their memory carefully, without forcing a conclusion onto their final, confounding hours. The mystery itself has become their memorial. The mountains still stand. They are patient. They are ancient. They hold the rain, the mist, the deep, abiding silence. They keep the space where a line of hikers moved as one, and then, in a moment of inexplicable terror, fell apart. They keep the place where one person walked away, alone, carrying a story that could never be fully told. In that quiet, the questions remain. What happened on that ridge? What force, seen or unseen, turned a routine expedition into a scene of tragedy.